So in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about the high performance habits that will bring you closer to your goals. So I want to break this down a little bit from a different perspective. High performance is always towards a goal. It's never independent of the goal. And habits are also not independent of the goals. You want to embody habits that lead to high performance um, behaviors that will eventually lead you to your goals. So it's not just about having habits that make you look good in the society. You have to actually evaluate the habits from a standpoint of whether these habits get you to where you want to be or not. And that destination could be different from everybody. Everybody has different goals and their habits will be different. But there are general rules and general principles that you can follow that could be linked to your goal. So you cannot have a high performance habits if you don't have goals. If you don't have goals, you are, like a leaf blowing in the wind. So you want to really sit down and write down exactly what you want out of your life, the future that you want out of your life, and you want to really design the future from various perspectives. So that's the number one habit, is that high performance individuals know exactly what they want and they have a clear vision. When a company like Tesla, which is a public company, declares what they are going to do, they're declaring their goals. So you cannot survive as a corporation without having goals and targets. So that same thing applies for individuals also. Even F1 drivers, they have certain goals that they want to achieve, and then there are targets. So these are some of the high performance avenues that you see, Formula One or public companies who have to perform at a continuous basis. So one of the most fundamental aspect of their function is to write down goals. So there's something to it. You have to have mental clarity. You have to allocate your time and resources, and how you know where to allocate that time and resources depends on your goal. So if you don't have that, the rest of the steps are not going to work, because everything is based on this and everything comes and stems from this. Your entire actions stem from your goal. So you really want to identify what are your goals in terms of money, health, relationships, happiness, whatever it is. In different areas of your life, you need to write the goals down, and you have to get it down to specific detail. And once you've done that, you can start identifying projects that you want to be associated with. So that's number one, is writing down your goals. And then the other thing that you want to look at is, how do you allocate your time and where are you spending your time? And if you're spending time on activities that are not linked to your goal, then you're wasting time. So one of the things that my mentor Dan Pena talks about is to write down your goals, and then write down who you met with every single day. In your personal life, whoever it is, you just write down every person that you came in contact with, online and offline. And then you have to make a connection as to how these were linked to your goals. And if they don't have a connection to your goals, they need to get out of your life, because they're eating away your time. You're not pursuing your dreams, and you're not fulfilling your dreams. You're not fulfilling your goals. And one of my other mentors, Sam Owens, talks about this, is that if you don't sacrifice for the thing that you want, what you want becomes the sacrifice. So if you don't sacrifice for your dream will become the sacrifice. So because there are 24 hours in the day, time is limited, and we are all going to die. So we have to have an effective allocation of your time, and that cannot be towards unrelated tasks, unrelated people. So this could mean that you may have to get rid of 80% of your 80% of the people in your life. At least in my case, 80 to 90% of the people that I used to be in contact with, I'm no longer in contact with. And all of that energy and time comes back to you. It could be online and offline, both the activities. If you just remove the things which are unrelated to your goals, you'll get a whole bunch of time back in your life. So that's another strategy that I learned from Dan Pena, is that you have to be ruthless when it comes to accomplishing your goals. Michael Phelps, when he was training to achieve gold medals, he wasn't hanging around with his friends and family. You could either have a big business life or you could have a big personal life. If you have a big personal life, you're not going to have a big business life. If you want to have a big career, your personal life has to reduce in size, and that's just the way it works. So you have to make that decision as to how important these goals are to you. So that's another strategy. The third habit I would encourage you to have is to go and visit your dream, meaning whatever it is that you want, whether it's a house or a car. Dan Pena calls it smell the leather, and I've been practicing this way before Dan Pena proposed it, but after he recommended it, I started to do it even more. So if there is a penthouse that you have a goal to buy and you have no means to buy it, but you should always visit that penthouse. You should always visit that car. You should test drive that car. Even if there is a nice suit that you want, or nice clothing that you want, or a nice watch that you want, you should always go irrespective of the price tag. Don't look at the price tag. Just go in and just try it on and anchor yourself mentally doing those things. And that it's a way of selling yourself on the dream, because when you write the goal or the dream down on a piece of paper, it's just a word. There may not be a clear picture in the mind for that goal. So once you write it down and once you visit the place, it sort of takes a place in your mind, and it takes kind of like a real estate in your brain, and it kind of pulls you towards it, because when you visit something in person, you tend to get inspired by it, and all the sacrifices that you have to make, all the work that you have to do start to make sense. You're not going to put in the work and you're not going to put in the sacrifice if there is nothing at stake for you. If there is no benefit that you're going to receive because of making that sacrifice, well, why would you want it? So it's important to expose yourself and see, what? Every time I procrastinate, I don't move forward. This is what I'm saying no to. This penthouse is what I'm saying no to. So either I can say no to the penthouse, or I can say no to this person in my life who doesn't add any value and is probably not going to be there in my future. So either I can give my time to this person or this activity, or I could give time on activities that will bring me closer to that thing that you want. And it has to be something inspiring. So that's really the initial step of kind of selling yourself on the dream, selling yourself on the goal, and then everything else makes sense. The fourth or fifth habit would be to cultivate an identity of a person that already has that. So I want you to observe the people who have the thing that you want, and I want you to start visualizing yourself being that character. And one of the ways when you want to accomplish financial success through maybe entrepreneurship, one of the things that Dan Pena has recommended is to wear a suit, a three-piece suit with a tie and a pocket square. What this does is it changes the identity and it changes your own perception of yourself, and it also changes other people's perception of you, that this is a serious guy, this is a guy who's up to something, he's a productive individual, he holds himself to high standard, and you're giving a message out to the world that you're somebody important, you're somebody that is valuable, you're somebody that matters. And when you start to wear a suit, your own mindset and your own perception about yourself changes. So that's another aspect of the QLA, high performance habits. And I started to see this really play out in my life, where I wouldn't want to get up in the morning and make the calls or take the meeting, but I would have a meeting set up in a nice hotel. which is where you should set up a meeting in a nice 5-star hotel, and I just won't be in the mood to go, and then I would dress up in a nice suit, and my whole attitude would change. All of a sudden I would walk different, I would talk different, I would present myself different, and that's because my perception, even in that short span of time, has changed. And all of a sudden I want to go, all of a sudden the right thing is coming out of my mind, out of my communication, and and I would have successful meetings. So wearing a suit, I didn't think would have such an impact, and I hated suits because they make you wear it in schools, but it has a profound effect on how you see yourself and how others see you. So that's really the fourth or fifth point, would be to cultivate an identity around that character that has the goals that you want to have. So you find the people that have already accomplished that goal, and then you start dressing up like them. The fifth aspect would be visualization, and visualization is really mental practice. So if you look at F1 drivers, and this is something that's shown in the movie Rush, this guy, the actor, was sitting in the F1 car, and it was not moving, it was just in his garage, and he closed his eyes and he was practicing the track in his mind over and over again, so that his mind gets programmed of running that track over and over again. He gets familiar with the turns, he gets familiar with what can go wrong, what can go right, and he because he doesn't have the time to make mistakes on the track when he's performing, so he has to make the mistakes maybe in his mind and correct those, so that when he's performing, he's not thinking. The thinking part has been taken care of up front. So a lot of the times this would happen is, if I have a presentation, I would go on the call 30 minutes early, and I would close my eyes and I would practice, and I would see the other person responding in a positive manner. I would see the close, I would see getting the outcome that I want, and then I would start to see what are the things that could make the person say no. I would see the scenarios in advance, the negative scenarios in advance that can happen, and I would have the time to come up with rebuttals or resolve those scenarios, so that I get a yes. So you keep the outcome that you want in your mind all the time, and you keep the eye on the goal, what exactly you want, and you see the close in your mind. Some of the greatest salesmen have this in their mind, the outcome that they want to have, they have it in their mind. So that's another high performance habit. And then this is linked to the second or third habit, by who you surround yourself with. You are really who you surround yourself with. I remember I had decided, my father passed away because of lung cancer, because he was a smoker, and I had decided I'm never going to smoke. That was clear, and it was decided. But I met somebody in boarding school, one of my best friends, and he was a smoker, and before you know it, I became a smoker, just because I was associated with him. And then I came back home, and everybody who was connected to me over the years became a smoker. So there was no smokers in my neighborhood, and then I was smoking, and then I had like 20 people, 20 of my friends started to smoke. And then the whole, it was like a chain reaction of behavior where, monkey see, monkey do. So, and that happens quite a lot. Behaviors have a tendency to rub off on you. Let's say you're hanging around with somebody who's not that financially successful. Well, and you go to a restaurant with them, and they look at the menu and they say, oh man, look at how expensive this place is. And then you start to think, oh, look at how expensive this place is. And then every time you see those numbers in a different product, you may have the same conversation going in your mind. Oh my God, it's so expensive. But what is expensive and what is not expensive is all relative. Another example of this, the positive example, is that I couldn't stand yoga. I was taught this in school. In India they teach yoga in schools, and I hated yoga. So I never thought I would do yoga. But then I went to a yoga center where everybody practiced yoga, and long and behold, I was doing 3-4 hours of yoga there. So that's a classic example. I decided I'm never going to smoke, then I became a smoker. Then I never thought I would practice yoga. I surround myself with people who practice yoga, and then I became like a yogi. very spiritual. And then I never thought I would go into the corporate world. And then I came in contact with Dan Pena, and I hated suits, and I started to wear suits. And I started to enjoy finance, which I didn't think I would enjoy because I didn't like numbers. But all of a sudden now I like numbers. So if I look back and I see how my behavior changed, and I can trace it back to the one person I came in contact with, or a certain environment I came in contact with, that shaped everything. So if this is true, you have to be very careful as to who you meet, who you surround yourself with, who you associate yourself with, because that's who is going to determine what behavior you're going to have, what habits you're going to have. So you could decide, oh, I'm going to have XYZ habit from today, but if you look at your surroundings and nobody has those habits and you're associating with them, then you're going to have the habits that they have. Your environment has a lot of power. So you have to really understand that and then implement it, because it's real. Another example is I started associating with my board members, and I started to make a lot of money and started to talk like them and started to act like them. And then these people also were a little bit foodie, and I wasn't foodie. And then before you know it, I became a foodie, and I had a little bit of belly, and I didn't have a belly for about 10 years. So over and over, I've seen the power of associating with somebody, and you can start to embody their behaviors. So you want to find the people who have what you want to have, and who have what you want to have, and then you want to associate with them. And you may find that you start embodying their philosophy, their behaviors, and how they act. And then the sixth habit would be to structure your day in terms of the yield, the result. So you want to look at your day and you want to see, okay, which activities are going to get me closer to my goal. So in the QLA system, the whole system is designed to make as much money as possible, as quick, as fast as possible legally. That's what the system is optimized for. So once you build your board, once you have your dream team, once you get law firms and accounting firm, from there, it's all about money. So Dan Pena said that 90% of your time has to be spent on looking for money and looking for deals. Once the dream team is built, after that, it's about finding money and finding deals. Everything else is a waste of time. So then you have to reorganize your entire day and your life around the highest yield activity. Yield means result, what the activity gives you back. So you want to align your time with something that is going to produce massive result. So that's a general framework of what the habits have to be. Notice that I didn't talk about what time to wake up, what time to sleep. These things, a lot of the people think they are relevant, but what if you have a call at 11 o'clock and it's $1 million phone call? It's a seller that's available at that time, or even at 12 a.m. What do? Do you miss the meeting because you want to wake up at 5 a.m.? Of course not. It's counterproductive. It's okay if you wake up a little bit late, but it's important for you to have that meeting. And there are times where I've taken meetings in the night. So you really have to think whether this habit serves the goal or not. Now, I know in the society it really looks good if you wake up at 5 a.m., but it has to be relevant to your goals and it has to be relevant to the project. So flexibility is the key. If being flexible helps you, then you have to be flexible, and you have to align your time with what will produce a result. It can't be counterproductive. Just because you want to wake up at 5, you can't cancel $1 million or a $10 million meeting. You have to go there, and you have to be flexible. So that's really my perspective, my view on how to cultivate high performance habits. To summarize, write your goals, expose yourself to those goals, find people who are not linked to your goals, get rid of them, wear a suit if finance is your goal, or cultivate an identity around the character that has the life that you want, and structure your day for the highest yield activity. Okay, and identify the people around you, and you are your friends, you are who you hang around with. And Dan Pena says, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So be careful of who you are surrounded yourself with. Sometimes it's okay to be by yourself instead of being with the wrong person, because the habits are going to rub off. So really, on this last point of associating with the right people, you don't want to think. Earlier I used to think that, is this a good person or not? Is this a person I can trust or not? That's how I would think. Now I think, do I want to become like this person or not? Irrespective of they're trustworthy, they're good, it doesn't matter. Do I want to become like this person or not? Because whether I want it or not, I will become like this person. So that's really the question, is do you want to become like the people that you are around? Irrespective of they are good, they are funny, they are trustworthy, they are loving, they are good-hearted, they are moral, doesn't matter. Do you want to be where they are in life? If the answer is no, you have to get rid of them. Maybe a radical approach, but this is a video on how to create high performance habits. And for that, you have to associate with high performance people. And that's the point. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit that subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll talk to you soon.